Razabani for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me on Zoom today, Mr. Dave Coldwell. Dave, Happy New Year, I guess.
Happy New Year. It feels like we've been. It feels as though it's going slow, or I don't know. Is it going slow? It just feels as though New Year's was like a long time ago. Is that because we just didn't celebrate it really this time? So it's been a strange one.
I know every time we speak, it always starts on a negative with lockdown and restrictions, but
because we always speak in lockdown.
But there were stages last year where we thought things are going to get better, things are going to improve. We had this.
They did, because we had boxing back, sports are back, or were back as such. Well, they are here with football. So things did get more positive and things did start moving again. But it was always said, wait until winter starts and when everybody, normal flu season starts, and then you'll see what happens and it'll pick up. And so it has done. But it seems to be almost a year on, we seem to be like back in that same sort of situation, and nothing's changed. But listen, all we can do is stay positive and keep trying to battle through best we can and try to be as upbeat as you can. And it's not hard. It's not easy. It's frustrating. It's frustrating for everybody. It really is. And this time round, it's been harder. I'm still keeping upbeat, but it's hard. I'm having to tell myself to a lot more. Even down to training. It's like today, I've trained myself and I've had to really, really force myself to training. I just couldn't be arsed. But got some work done, got something done. Do you know what I mean? And that's how you've got to be, really.
We know the government announced this month, that elite sports could continue. But we were surprised with the British boxing board decision initially that there would be no boxing in January while other elite sports continued.
I think they kind of like worried about the doctors' side of things, doctors, paramedics that are there, and I think they took that into account. And maybe perhaps the doctors at that time were saying, look, we don't know if we can commit to it, see what happens. And then the board probably just thought, look, not a lot of shows happen in January anyway. So, normally shows don't happen until the end of January anyway. And I think the only one that I knew that was scheduled, there might have been one for BT, but the only one that I knew that was scheduled was January 30th. So really, in the scheme of things, they probably just thought, look, we'll be seen to be doing the right thing and back off a little bit. The other thing with that was, yes, it's understandable, I think, but it just plunged everybody into a downer because, obviously fighters had trained through Christmas and New Year's and scheduled to fight in January 30th, and the fight has got cancelled or put back or whatever, and it just puts them on a downer. It's just that negative news that you don't want to hear coming into a brand new year when you're filled with hope and everything. But it is what it is, and we've got boxing back in February, and please God, it goes ahead, everything goes fine, and we can get moving again. It's in the scheme of things, people can turn around and say it's only sport, it's only boxing, but just like it's affecting people's businesses, shops, normal jobs, boxing is an industry in itself where it provides income, it provides lifestyle for people that work in the sport. That's boxers, that's coaches, managers, promoters, TV people that are involved in boxing. So if there's no boxing, everybody at BT, Sky, whoever it is, all those guys aren't working, and there's a knock-on effect for everything. So it is a concern. It isn't just a case of it's just sport. It's not, because every sport, if it's a professional sport, that means that people are earning a living and they're supporting their families, and just like everybody else, when the money stops, the bills don't stop, and so you keep positive and you keep plowing forward. But all you're doing is noticing your bank account going lower and lower and lower, and there's people that can't afford the food. People can't afford the bills, and boxers, all boxers live on a breadline as it is, because there's until you hit the top, there's no money in it. And so all these fighters that are out there are like skint as it is, and going from fight to fight to keep them going through the next camp. And a lot of them, the money that they earn on the fight literally just pays for a camp and the living expense, especially if the likes of Jordan Gills and people like that. I've got Jordan and Lerone that live elsewhere and stay up near my gym Monday to Friday. So they have rent to pay there. They have their own bills back home. And then you've got your living expenses, you've got everything. And all boxers are like this. And this is the thing. And until a boxer fights, he doesn't get the money. Now, when there's, if you're used to 4 or 5 fights a year, prospects used to more, and then it drops down to once a year and twice a year, it's like, shit. It's very difficult. So it's more than just a sport. So I understand when people say, there's more going off in the world and everything. I understand that, and it's true. But for the people that in our sport, this is life. This is like everything, and this is a way that we support our families.
If I know you got a couple of fighters out over the coming months, so in the back of their mind, does it ever trigger that, with everything that's going on the side, on the outside, a show might get cancelled, my camp might go to waste? Does that go through their mind? Do they ever have that?
Yeah, we're like this. Before we went into lockdown originally, Jordan was literally 6 days away from his fight, and it got canned. And then you were seeing fights getting canned because of COVID, because people are failing tests. You look at was it Khan-Brook? He was in the bubble. He was supposed to fight his first fight for Matchroom, I think it was, and then his fight got cancelled. I think it was him, and he was there. His fight got cancelled because somebody from his team failed a COVID test. There's been several instances of that. So every fighter that's going through everything right now, preparing for a date, they're just praying. And we have we're the same as coaches. We're like, please God, because we're seeing the fighters put all this work in. We're putting this work in and everything, and you don't want to be turning up there and getting failing a test. You look at Jazza. It happened with it was Jazza Dickens as well. He felt fit, felt great, didn't feel no dip and everything. He's turned up for fight week and gets tested, and his fights off. It's heartbreaking. And then you've got to go again with another camp, and again, financial implications are massive, but the mental implications as well are very soul destroying. So yeah, we're training, we're preparing for fights, but we're shit scared.
Do you do any testing yourself, Dave? Is there any testing that's done before you get into the bubble, or before you, a couple of weeks before?
Yeah, well, Joe, we tested this week, so because we kind of like had I'm not saying I'm right or anything, but kind of thought, well, last time I had COVID, Jordan had COVID, Hope had COVID, Lerone had COVID. We all had it. The only one that really had bad symptoms was Jordan. He was really bad, but he does have underlying issues with his thyroid problem that he had last year. But like myself and Lerone especially, we didn't have anything. We was like, Lerone felt a little bit tired a couple of days, but it was the back of the week. So sometimes it happens, and I'll just say, go home early, don't bother training tomorrow. That's what it was like. It wasn't bad, and that's all he felt. I didn't have anything, but because everybody else was having a test, I got a test, and I've got it. So the thought that we had was, right, okay, let's get a test now, because if we have got it again, you never know. Jordan was a little bit, he had a little bit of headache and a little bit under the weather a while ago. He thought, well, anyone can get an headache, anyone can have a bit of flu, a bit of cold, anyone can. But you just think, right, okay, well, just in case, get the test. If we've got it now. We isolate it now. We've still got a long stretch of training, rather than just carrying on and just, and getting it later on. And it was almost like a case of, well, hopefully, if we're going to we'd rather have it now. That was the thought process. But we want to test as often as we can, so we don't turn up on fight week and then end up failing the test and then you're fucked. Whereas if you get it now, or if somebody's got it now, you can isolate, sort it now, boom, that's it. If you've got it now, you know you're going to be clear. But I don't even know if you can get it twice. I don't know. I don't know anybody that's had it twice. So please God, we've all had it, so we don't get it again. But I don't know. Who knows?
On a more positive note, 6 boxing shows have been announced. Matchroom announced 5 shows yesterday, Friday, and obviously Frank Warren has announced Herring and Frampton. We won't go into too much detail in all the fights that have been announced. I'm sure as each show approaches, I will be knocking on the door for an assessment of each show. But obviously you got Leewood, someone you manage, big opportunity for the British featherweight title as well. So you're happy that Lee's for getting this opportunity?
Yeah, I'm over the moon for him. It's a title that he's been desperate to win all his career. That's what he's always wanted, the British title. And the whole, when we went into the golden contract, was because Ryan Walsh was in there as British champion, and he was going to pick Ryan Walsh, but then the board put a stop to that and didn't allow the British title to be on the line, which was a real disappointment for him. He just wants to fight for that British title. So the opportunity came to maneuver him to fight for the British title. There you go. And now he's got that. And it's a hell of a fight because it's a young gun that's going to come and give it everything. And he's got his heart sight on a British title. He's exciting. Come forward. He throws a lot of punches. Very aggressive. But Lee's looking great, and I think you're going to see a really good performance from Lee. He's so up for this fight. He's so excited about this fight, and he's working really, really well.
Hopey as well now, and I know he's only 20 years old now, and he's 2 or 3 fights in. But with the pressure of lack of shows, lack of opportunities, do you have to almost now move him that little bit faster? He doesn't get the time. There's not enough time for him to take those learning fights as much as you would have maybe 2 years ago.
100%. So his first year was supposed to have 7 fights. Obviously, pandemic hits, it doesn't. He has 3 fights. And the 3rd fight, because it was fight camp, was a step up. Johnny Phillips banged out a welterweight. Strong kid, aggressive kid, got a few knockouts on his record. That was a fight that you wouldn't normally take, and giving away weight, natural weight. But he handled it so well. The sparring that he's had, I've said before, the quality of sparring that he gets, Jordan Gill constantly. Lee Wood has done a lot of sparring with. He's done some, recently with Lee Appleyard, who's he's a big kid, he's a light welterweight. The sparring with Leon Woodstock and Kid Galahad. These are good, experienced fighters, good quality fighters, and he's just soaking it up. He's got such a good mentality. He's got a great mentality. He's soaking it up. He is developing so well, so fast. Listen, this kid is talented, but the most important thing for me at 20 years old is his mentality and his attitude. And honestly, this kid's going to be a star. He is that good. Not just a case of, I hope he's going to win a world title. I'd be disappointed if he only won 1 world title. He's that good. And like I said, he's got the attitude, and he's learning so much in the gym. He's learning. So the fights wise, stepping him up, I'm not too worried. We tried to get Ashley Lane before Kez Asfak got him. Ashley Lane turned it down twice in fight camp. Tried to get Ashley Lane. That's a big step up. But when Eddie said, "Look, you've got to have a real fight," okay. So we tried to get Ashley Lane. Obviously, Ashley got beat by Kez Asfak, so there's no value in him fighting. I think he's retired anyway. So we've looked at names like Martin Illman's, Ogilvy's, kids that are 9-1, 7-1, things like that. But they're not around, and it's just a couple have turned it down, and it's just trying to get the right, because you can't. So I agreed to Mark Rambaleza. That's a big step up. That's a good fighter, but the experience that being in the ring with someone like that will bring hope is fantastic, and I believe that Opie will beat him. But Rambalez has got some issues, so he can't take the fight. We even agreed to, I think Brian Phillips accepted it, but then after he's accepted it, turned around and says he can't make the weight. He was going to do it at 9 stone. Opie's a super bantamweight, but it's like with Phillips, he took the weight at a higher weight because just to get the fight. So if it's the right opponent, then yeah, I will do that. But I've got to be careful because he's 20 years old. I don't want to put him in, rush him and things like that. But it has to be the right sort of steps. And I would gladly turn around and said, no, it's too early for that one. It's too early for that one. I'm not going to rush him like that. But at the same time, we have to take the bigger steps because of the situation we're in. It's the same as what I said to you about Jordan. You can't stay at the same level and use if you're only going to have 2 slots in a year, 3 if you're lucky. You can't use them slots just to stay there, because what's the point? You're just treading water, and it's going to take you. Then you wait for next year for the step. So you got to take the steps. And we're going to have to take bigger steps than what one. But this kid, by end of 2021, if it goes right, then he would. I'll be disappointed if he's not English champion, knocking on the door for a British title. That's by the end of the year. That's where he could realistically be, because coupling the fact that you have to take the jumps and the rate of improvement that he's showing, that's where it could be. I'm not saying he's fighting for a British title. I'm saying he'd be, in that mix of knocking on the door, where there's always like 4 or 5 names where people would talk about. That's where I could see him. It could realistically be, adding those 2 factors.
Dave, his title, repeat or revenge? Dillian Whyte-Povetkin finally announced.
What about Amy Timlin, man? She's got a Commonwealth title.
Well, of course,
in the same mix.
Absolutely.
That's a good fight. Amy Timlin and Carly Skelly. The first time round, I think Amy was a little bit nervous. She boxed completely different to what I've ever seen her, and I was like, nerves got to her. It was a big thing. She's a quiet girl, 20 years old, young. She had a good, tough fight there in Carly Skelly, and she's learned so much from it. I'm looking forward to the rematch, because that's going to be a great fight, because what Carly Skelly brings, but Amy's going to bring more of her usual self. I didn't think she was aggressive enough in that fight. She didn't fight her usual fight. But like I said, nerves, inexperience. This time around, I think you're going to see a much better fight than the first one, and the first one was good. So yeah, Amy Timlin, Carly Skelly, the rematch is on for that one. So I'm delighted that that's taking place as well.
You mentioned Amy there, Dave, but just generally women's boxing is absolutely thriving now. I think a couple of years ago it was Katie Taylor, mainly in the UK, and then the girls in America. But now we've got all these bunch of girls across many divisions in the UK really making a name for women's boxing.
But that's what happens when you have somebody that inspires people. You had it with whenever there's a standout fighter, it brings a new generation of people to the sport, and a new generation of people that follow that fighter. And women's boxing, they had Katie Taylor, and you've seen what influence she's had in the sport, because it weren't a case of where people just look at, yeah, she's all right for a woman. No, she's good, full stop, as a boxer. But then now you look at the next generation that's coming through. You look at the next one down, I would say, is Terry Harper. Terry Harper and Tasha Jonas put up a great fight. But Terry's only 23 years old, something like that. So she's kind of like the flag bearer for the next generation after Katie Taylor. I would like to see the experience that she got from the Tasha Jonas fight. I would like to see how that improves her. I'd like to see a rematch with her and Tasha Jonas. I think that's a great fight. The first one was a great fight, and so for me, it'd be nice if they could sort that out. If they can't, they can't. That's just how boxing is, you know. But then you look at the girls coming through as well of recent months. You know, Chantel Cameron's and obviously Shannon Courtney's back now. Obviously, she got beat by Rachel Ball. Rachel Ball's now put herself up there. It's exciting. And now, you know, you look at the girls and the amateurs as well that are looking to turn over after the Olympics, and or if they get the Olympics. It's just going to make it better and better, and you're gonna have more of a strength in depth in women's boxing, which is what it needs. That's what it needs, because what you tend to get is you get the really good fighters, and the opponents that they're fighting just aren't anywhere near their level. So it kind of like makes it look. But as it goes on, as the years go on, the opponents will be better quality, and so we'll have even better fights, and you know, at a lower level, not just title fights.
Dave, Dillian's waited 5 months for this rematch. Initially, it was supposed to take place in November, and then Povetkin got hit with COVID. There were actually talks about Dillian fighting somebody else if Povetkin wasn't going to be ready for this particular date. Is this everything on the line for Dillian?
I would say so, yeah. I would say so. But the fact that it's now 5 months later, it works in Dillian's favour. I think, you know, with hindsight, yes, he wanted to get straight back in there straight away, but we were all concerned, like, wow, that's a little bit soon. So 5 months later, he's had time to have a little bit of a break. Not that he's had much of a break, but he's had more time to improve as a fighter and work. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to have much involvement in the corner?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't know.
Dillian
Still talk to Dillian and everything, yeah. But
he did an interview today with IFL. Coogan asked him about his corner team, and he said, look, there might be one or two additions. Coogan then asked about yourself, and he said, listen, Dave's a great trainer, and yeah, you never know what will happen.
Yeah, the main thing is that me and Dillian are mates, and I get on with him really well, and that's all it was at the beginning. I didn't train him for that fight or anything. It was just, you know, he asked for me to come in the corner, and so I did. So if he asked me again, then, you know, there's that option there. But if he doesn't, he doesn't.
Are you getting a little bit excited now that we're hearing that Joshua Fury may be a few weeks out from signing the contract, or are you still a bit skeptical that Deontay Wilder?
Do you know what? I've kind of, because it's been, people talk about it and ask you, who's going to win, all the time for months and months and months, all the time. And you're fed up for answering it. And I don't want to talk about it because it's not been made. But then I saw this interview we had yesterday, I think it was, and he said that he would he's hopeful for announcement in the next 4 weeks. I was like, oh shit, they're close. They are close. Because when you got Eddie saying 90% and Bob Arum saying 95%, that shit's close. So I'm getting a little bit excited. I'm trying to hold it down. Because this is boxing. But I'm getting excited.
Does it make more sense and understanding now with the current situation in the UK why that fight can definitely not happen in the UK? Eddie said himself, you need at least 100,000 to even bring it to the table and have discussions. But does it make more sense that it has to go somewhere else?
Yeah, I've never expected it to be in the UK, the first fight. Never expected it. It had to have Wembley for it to be in the UK. You know, you couldn't have it anywhere else, and it had to be full to bring it to the UK. It's a huge fight, so the fighters have got to get the most money they can get for it, because it's the biggest fight that creates the two massive names. So I know when people say, "Oh, they're already rich, they've already got money." Yeah, but this is what you worked all your life for. It's not just what, when a fighter gets to the top and then starts earning the big money, he's not just earning it for then where he's at now. It's for the years that he's put into it. Do you know what I mean? Or she. It's the years I've put into it. Like from day one, walking to a gym at 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever it is. It's from there where it's the long stretch of period where they're not getting paid. It's a long stretch of period where they then getting paid small amounts. I'm not talking about it. Obviously AJ and Fury when they turned pro, they were on more money than what other fighters are. But I'm talking about fighters in general. They're different. But the fighters that when they start earning the money that they're getting, it's kind of like the time that they've spent getting themselves up there, they've invested in themselves. So when they get to that point where they're in the serious dough, they want the best money they can get. And also, not only that, is every time you step into a ring, it might be a last. You know, that's real talk. That's how it is. It might be a last. So they're gonna want the maximum payday, especially when it's a fight that's huge. And it is 50-50. It is a fight where either man can win. So in their eyes, although they don't want to say he could beat me, their eyes, in their own thoughts, they know, listen, this is a fight I could get beaten. I want maximum money. So going abroad, the pandemic and everything, it's the perfect, not excuse, but it's a perfect reason to take it abroad, and where somebody's going to pay a stupid site fee, and they're going to make the money out of it. So yeah, I think it will be abroad. I think it'll be Middle East probably. I heard somebody mention China. I can't imagine it being China.
Singapore as well, I think.
Yeah, but again, it's something like that. I know it's nice going with to a place where you've never been before, you've never done it before. That's all cool, but there's a lot of unknowns going there. It's like when the first show at Saudi, you know, people like, oh, is it gonna? They've never been there, the logistics, everything like that. But when they put that together, it wasn't. You didn't have the extra problems that a pandemic brings. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this time, no matter where you go in the world, there is an issue of working around a pandemic. So maybe that'll bring more problems. So maybe that's why somewhere like Saudi, where they have been, or even America, it might even, you know, you look at the Canelo fights, you know, with crowds that they're getting and everything. But although I'd probably not, I don't know if that'd be enough. Maybe, I don't know. But you look at places like that, and boxing's going on with crowds. So maybe it'd be somewhere where there is, you know, there is crowds like America, or like I said, Saudi's been done before, so Saudi would be, I would imagine, quite easy to do.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope the fight happens, and let's not curse it or jinx it or anything like that. And we'll stay quiet for the remaining interview about Fury and Joshua. And let's just hope the fight happens for the sake of the fans as well. Dave, what did you make of Chris Eubank Jr. signing with the Saudans?
Yeah, good move for him. Nothing. Yeah, was he with Heyman before?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, it's great. Listen, the Heyman move and everything, it seems to be really good from earning money, but the careers don't seem to. Also, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part, they don't seem to fight often. And I think Junior just needs to fight, and I think the Salons will get him active. I think the relationship the Salons have got with Matchroom will probably mean that he'll end up on Sky or DAZN, you know, one or two or both, whatever. So yeah, I think it's a good move for him. And I just, the thing is with Chris Eubank Jr., he's not young anymore. You know, he's 31, 31. It's not next gen anymore. So he needs to make his mark like now and getting the big fights now and you know, establish himself and prove to himself what he's always believed that he can do and he's capable of doing. You know, he's fallen short in the fights that we remember of him, you know, but he's in a good position now.
Dave, I know we've spoken about this many times over the last 4 or 5, 6 years, But Eddie mentioned it.
Oh no.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're gonna mention. You're gonna talk about Khan-Brook and me, can't you?
Would you watch it?
Of course, but I'm not gonna get excited about it until the announcer is there. They're both sat at a press conference, probably on fight week. I probably won't get excited about it first time around, first press conference announcing it, or virtual press conference it'll probably be now. But I want it done before we talk about it and who's going to win and all that sort of shit. It's been talked to death for years. You're not talking about it a couple of times. Years. Will it happen? I don't know. Eddie's talked about it before. Other promoters have talked about it before, no doubt. But it's never happened. So they've both said, I want it. I'm going to do this to him. I'm going to do that to him. They've both said it over the years. It's never happened. And Eddie makes a very good point. When the fight was worth shitloads, the fight never happened. The fight's worth nowhere near that now. Are they going to take it now? Because they've both got plenty of money. It's not like now they're like, the skin and think, shit, I need to cash out. Oh, yeah, even though it's not anywhere near the money that it used to be worth, I'll still take it because I need it. They've both done well out of boxing. They've both got plenty of money. So I don't know. I still don't think it'll happen. I'll believe it when we're there.
But do you feel like Amir Khan only mentioned it? Kel now is talking about it because it is a cash out fight potentially for both. Because they're both at the very latter stages of their career. They're not really going to get those big names now. So is it a cash out fight? Is it unfair on British fans because they've paid for?
But you could say Crawford was a cash out fight for Kel and whatever fight Amir had last time out was a cash out fight, because I'm sure that was a big fight. I can't remember what his last fight was, to be honest.
I think it was in Saudi. Billy
right.
did.
But right, okay. But maybe not. I don't know, maybe they see it as a cash out fight. But ultimately, those that think that it's insulting because now you're making it as a cash out, they won't pay for it. They won't buy it. But the others that just want to see who wins, they will. But I will say, if the fight happens, whoever wins now, it doesn't mean they was the better man when they were both at the best. Whichever way it goes, it doesn't mean it, because we will never know who would have won that fight at the best. We can all have opinions, but we will never know because it never happened. And this is the problem with boxing when fights never happen. Ricky Hatton and Junior Witter, obviously Kel and Amir. There's been other fights. Yeah, Calzaghe Froch. Everyone's got opinions, but we'll never know because it never happened. And it's a bit sad and that's why I think sometimes when you talk about let's wait, don't wait, get the fight done. If it's a good fight, you can always do it again later. You can always wait again. Let the second fight marinate and build. So whoever wins, if it happens, doesn't mean anything. It's just like who's got what left.
Okay, Dave, always a pleasure catching up with you. Our first interview of 2021. Wish you continued health. Obviously, yourself, the fighters, and family. Stay safe. Do not wish you any good luck tomorrow when Liverpool smash.
Come on. Do you know what? What is it? 7 years since United, after 17 games, since United were top of the league after 17 games, 7 years or so. And I believe the last time this was the case, United won the league.
There's all ifs and buts, Dave. All ifs and buts.
No, that's a fact. That's not an if and but. That's a fact. The last time they were top after 17 games, they won the league.
It's something crazy.
Do you know what's so good? Do you know what's so good? Is that all of a sudden, because United still, we don't expect to win the league or anything like that. Liverpool do expect to win the league, so we ain't got no pressure on us. We can go into that game tomorrow, and if Liverpool beat United, we're still level with you. We're still, we're second, but we're level on points with you. If we beat Liverpool, we got 6 points. 6 points in front of Liverpool. That great Liverpool team. Wow.
The funny thing is,
shitty Man United team that's struggling, Go 6 points. Wow. But like I said, if we get beat, then we're still level with you. So there's no pressure on United.
Last Sunday we were first, and tomorrow, if all the teams win and we lose, we could be sixth. That's how close the table. Honestly, Leicester, Tottenham, Man City, if they all win and we lose, we go sixth. From first to sixth in the space of 7 days.
Well, I'd be happy with fifth if that meant that Man City don't, because I don't want Man City to win. But the rest of them, I hope the rest of them win and United win, and then you go to fifth, if that's right. So I'll be happy with that.
Well, look forward to your, you should look forward to my text this time tomorrow, I'm sure. Dave Coldwell, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.